day.
Than fuel. Kenya could learn because we have so much water that we waste. But let's go to the proverb. The Algerians are saying, people who do not know your wealth, worth, and virtues might do you harm. People who do not know your worth or virtues might do you harm. Doreen, what do you think Algerians are saying here?
People who don't know what you stand for might just show you bad things.
Yeah.
Like, more or less.
Pretty much. Baridi, how would you interpret it?
People don't see the vision, might mistaken you and act negatively.
Okay. Because they do not know the real person Baridi is, eh? So they would decide to have their own connotation of who you are without really understanding. Yes, well said.
And true, very, very true. Well said. We get into some deep waters talking about HIV now, and let's just do a little bit of history to this. That when HIV first came around, and it was very clear that this was something that was debilitating in terms of the disease caused by this virus, we saw some crazy pictures. And beyond the pictures, we were faced with some crazy realities that in different parts of the world, the entire villages were wiped out. A certain age class of people was wiped out. And that this disease took on a persona whereby there was transmission through very many forms. And we got to the point where a drug then was developed for it, and that people were then able to take this antiretroviral and live an optimal life. You would not be able to look at somebody and know that they were on ARVs. There's what we call now, the terms that we use in terms of a CD4 count there would be no, not traceable, essentially, what we're talking about. And that people could live optimally and operate as normal. And we did the ABCs of HIV, and we saw the horrible pictures on billboards, and we talked about mother-to-child transmission, and we debunked the myths that you can't get HIV from kissing and you can't get HIV from looking at somebody. I mean, we did all of that, you know? Then come 2024, 2025, and then we have a resurgence of infections. And suddenly it seems as though we forgot about it. People are more scared of pregnancy than they are of contracting HIV. Those are the realities of the day. Now what we have, as has been reported in the last couple of days, is that we have like anti-HIV. We have anti-malarial for HIV is coming in injection forms, 110,000 doses already made available for the Kenyan market. So those are some of the nitty things that we're looking at. But if we look at the face of this disease, it still is the disease, no matter how politically correct you want to sound and be. It's a disease caused by a virus. People are still contracting it. Doreen, where are we today?
Where are we today? Scientifically progressed very beautifully. We don't have a cure yet, we don't have a vaccine yet, but we have progressed very well because we have long-acting treatments now. We have the injectable ARVs, we have injectable prevention as well. We have, as you've said, people are now on treatment. Most people are on one pill a day. So once they're undetectable, they cannot transmit HIV to another person. Again, beautiful science around U equals U. So we have progressed where HIV is now preventable and very much manageable. But we keep seeing new numbers. We are in a year where children are still being born with HIV. People are still getting HIV sexually. So which means, did we reach a point and we forgot about this virus and we forgot about the history we've had with HIV all along, or did we just relax? Yeah.
I mean, it's a question of, if you look at the generation upon which this information HIV was pumped on, especially immediately after HIV came into the country. It is a generation where people were dang scared hearing just HIV, and everybody put their boots on to ensure that we protect and take care of ourselves. over time, with improvement in science, things got better. Managing HIV became much easier. The reason why today there is a generation that was not exposed to what HIV is really, because today one would say, there is PrEP. I will just take PrEP and I'm easy. I fear getting pregnant. Is it a question of at some point we relaxed, we never really continued to push the information that today one would say, it's not a big deal. We can even share PrEP. Is that the case?
Yeah. So I think just to add on what Doreen has said, we have done well, especially on the treatment aspect of the ones who are positive. Because now the care, treatment, and medication has been coming and people taking their ARVs. But we have not done well into the awareness and communication of HIV prevention in the country. I think the last awareness that we did well was during sugar, when Walkina Lupita used to work and create a more awareness on this. So the problem is the new infection that now is coming, the numbers that are coming in. It's worrying because the age group, they're at risk. And even when you say we come back now to PrEP, and I know we are going to talk about the injectable and the rest, but even when you come back to PrEP, they don't even adhere to the PrEP. PrEP you have to take for certain days, close to a month. Someone take it in a 1 week, ashachoka.
You're saying a week, Jana?
Yeah, but it's difficult even to take Coartem for those 3 months if you have malaria. Yeah. So the fatigue also becoming a challenge for our young people, and that's why they only think about PrEP again when they're already messed up. So, and then the process of going to get a PrEP sometimes used to be difficult, that you have to go for HIV testing, and you have to be tested for you to get a PrEP. But now, mtu anasema hili nikufe kama sijui. I don't want to know my HIV status. So niende nitestiwe ndio nipate PrEP. So that one anasema acha tu nibaki vile niko. Itaniua nikijua. So that's also been some barriers ya kuchukua PrEP. But most, again, it's also the ones now are giving birth to PMTCT that we have talked about, giving birth to now young kids and becoming HIV positive.
Okay.
Where we know we have tried so much so that people can able to take their treatment well. And there is a time that we had treatment interruption where we have a shortage of ARVs in the country. And then now, what happened with when you miss ARVs, it's that because this is supposed to boost your immune system so that any other thing cannot able to come into your body and distract your growth.
Okay.
So when they boost your immune system, it's supposed to be a way where you take your meds, you adhere to your meds very well, you make sure that you take your treatment every time that you are given. But you find that now when you have a shortage of ARV, some people skip. You take it today in the evening, I skip, I take it tomorrow, so that I can able to cover me for this certain time. But now we have something will come in which is called advanced AIDS. Then what advanced AIDS now, most of medication now is not working because you keep adhering, stopping. And then it's now the older AIDS. Think Doreen will help me there. So when you reach now advanced AIDS, it now reach a stage where sometimes it's not easy for you to be secured or to come back to life. And that is why when you feel that most of our young people who are not taking their medication, they're still having intercourse outside there in university and campus. And some are not using protection. And then why you find that now we still have new infections that are coming into this.
So it should not be a surprise.
We should not be a surprise.
Okay. So just for purposes of understanding, PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis.
Yeah.
That what it does essentially is that if in the event that you may have been exposed to the virus, then you take this, and in some cases up to 98% effective, in some other cases 74% effective, according to what we've seen. By and large, what we're saying here is that if you made a mistake or you behaved in some kind of interesting behavior, that there's something that you can have. But what we don't sometimes it's for a month, isn't it? It's for 30 days.
That is
30
PEP.
days.
That is PEP. But
Yeah.
PrEP is for
PrEP is longer.
Is longer.
More long acting. yeah.
Okay. My question is is a behavioral question that previously, give or take 20 years ago, that we did the ABCs of HIV, isn't it? Abstinence, be what?
faithful.
Be faithful
Use a
and
condom.
use a condom. All right, we did those. But now we've gotten into this unholy communion of sharing medication that we may not know. But people are actually sharing this pre-exposure prophylaxis, that if you have it and we may have been exposed, you have the dose for 30 days. I'm coming to you and I'm asking you if I can pop some of your pills. Or I'm coming to you and saying, okay, you have some, can I have some? Because maybe I behaved in some interesting ways the night before or the week before. Are these not extremely dangerous behaviors that we are getting into now? And surprised, because the research is there. It's the same young people that Baridi is talking about who are now exposing themselves to this behavior that are sharing PEP.
The thing is, Kenya was one of the first countries to adopt both PEP and PrEP. But we made the process of access very hectic. So you need, as Baridi said, you need to go to a hospital, sit there, wait to get tested, wait for the pre-counseling test, post-counseling test, then they give you the PEP or the PrEP. So it became more or less like just how we access ARVs. And young people really did not like that process of, I must sit and wait, and now it's more of jumping hoops. So they created shortcuts. So the problem really came with the issue of access. It's us who kind of created the problem, and we did not allow young people an easier process of taking PEP, like maybe pharmacies, online deliveries, because we have online pharmacies where you can order a self-test kit, test yourself at home, because that is something that is happening. It's a reality in 2026. And then order your PEP or your PrEP. So we did not make the process shorter. We made it way longer. And then PrEP and PEP again is being offered in clinics that serve people living in HIV. And the stigma is still there, whether we like to accept it or not. So I'm not going to be seen walking into these facilities, coming out with medication that sort of looks like ARVs. So I would rather just use an easier way out.
I mean, Dorina, you're well traveled. I see how you push these on online, right? I see the conversations that you have. When you speak in terms of access, you made it difficult. What is the experience outside the country or outside the continent in terms of access to PEP and PrEP that has helped them deal with this problem better than us?
I am going to use an example of South Africa because it's one of the countries that really are thriving. They made it possible at pharmacies. You could walk into a pharmacy. They have a pharmacy called Clicks. Just walk in, get your PEP and go home. There is no this long process of I must go to a hospital. Because you see, the thing is, we are not a very health-seeking behavior nation. So when you put something at a hospital, I really need to be very sick for me to be able to go to that hospital. But when you put things at a pharmacy, pharmacies are accessible. They're everywhere. So most of the countries that I've gone to, South Africa really is up there. The rest of them, some of us are doing, Kenya is probably doing better than some of them. But still, our issue came with access. Because ideally, as Baridi said, we focused so much on the people living with HIV, we forgot the people at risk of getting HIV. So those people are who we were supposed to bridge this gap for, and we didn't do that.
So Baridi, so there is access problem that is there. But then again, you come to, at the time when Kenya was fighting it and it was all over the place, you would walk into any facility, there is a dispenser. condoms available. You know, you go to schools, condoms available. That coupled up together with conversation around it and just sensitization on what HIV/AIDS is. Today, it's a different story. You see campuses, people are demonstrating because we do not have condoms in our institutions. You know, you go to hospitals, they do not have. The government says we do not have enough cash funds to purchase the same. Now, at a point when we had discussions on ABCs, remember at that point when you talk about abstinence, strapping it up using a condom, that C is disappeared because in institutions where would encourage people who are engaging in sex to use condoms do not have access to them. Did we fail?
Yes. I can say that first it's funding that also might be a problem. But to me, I think it's also the government of Kenya that need to take responsibility for the country, people to get the condoms. There's a time we have a shortage of condoms and even ARVs, and I ordered for demonstration, and we did a demonstration in around 17 counties. There is global fund in the country that gives money to the country to buy condoms. There is PEFA sometimes want to buy condoms in the country. But now you are being told that the money for condoms maybe has been released, but you have to go to KEMSA and look for CEO of KEMSA to plead. Unless you will say that we are going to demonstrate because of condom, is when now the condoms comes out. So I think this is where also, because at the facility where you're supposed to, in the hospital, leave alone even the school. In the hospitals, you need to have condoms kwa choo, aziko. In the university campuses, ukienda na condom, one box, we boss, ni kama umeleta gold. Kila mtu anataka every piece. We used to drive a campaign of HIV awareness in different campuses where you test people, you come with King Kaka, they perform on Friday event, but you say Monday to Friday is a testing. For you to enter to King Kaka event, you have to have a wristband. And that wristband is your ticket. So wristband tunapewa tu kisha test, na umepewa condom. So when the funding goes down, and the US also cut some funding, and the project and the program also go down. And that's why we have been asking the government of Kenya to make sure that at least they put some money for commodities when even the parliament, so that the people who cannot able to access these things can able to get them for free. Because this is the most of the, because even if you say we are using protection, and this is why we come up with the PrEP part of it. PrEP does not prevent STI. And PrEP does not also prevent you not getting pregnant. So what these young people does, when they want PrEP and they don't want to get pregnant, they get PrEP and then they look for P2.
APL, yeah.
So I may prevent. In fact, if you have to go to these sides of Embakasi on Saturday, sometimes you might miss some shops for P2. And also coming back into Doreen's question, also why Kenya cannot also to put it, you can get PrEP anywhere before. Because even the ones is coming in the country, Len and then Kabele, the one in Adungwa Kwatumbo, the one in Adungwa Nyoma. You see yesterday the news, ule jamaa alikufa because alikuwa anatolewa meno in Kawangware, you remember?
Yes.
So if you give a certificate you and everyone to do this, na ile kudungwa kwa tumbo, what will we have in the country?
It is a catastrophe.
You see. So that's why also sometimes ministers of health try to prevent such things, so that you just go to the known facility, like I'm going to Mbagathi, where you know such cases cannot able to. But if you say it's a free there outside. And also this injectable PrEP, also we need to talk about it with the people, because some people think that is a cure. It's not a cure of HIV. And also PrEP, injectable PrEP that is coming in the country, you cannot use it. You cannot use it as a ARVs. So that, because wengine wanadhani ni ARVs ya kudungwa after 6 months. It's completely for negative people.
Okay.
So condom is so when we are using all these things, we must know that we still have a combined prevention where you still use condom as a protective gear. So we need more condoms in the country more than the intervention. We have even vaginal ring in the country to prevent HIV. So those one I think you already know about it. So we need to do more into creating awareness first from the schools. You know, even if you go to classes, we used to have classes where we have a session where teachers will come and talk health clubs and the rest. So we need to start creating awareness from the school, from the parent, from church and the rest.
So we talk about multiple layers of intervention here.
Yes.
That's clearly necessary. But I want to talk about, there seems to be quite a high element of reckless behavior. Because if Baridi is telling us that people are doing PrEP and emergency contraception, and I don't know what is this cocktail of disaster, and you're not even sure if the thing is going to work. And this is all on a bedrock of knowledge that is misinformed.
Yes.
That we are still thinking that all of these things are preventables, and that if you take them, then you're fine. So are we still dealing from a place of lack of knowledge, or are we just being reckless in our behavior, Doreen? And then also, many said that those pictures were terrible things, but in my opinion, the ones that we saw, they helped people say, what? I am going to wear a blanket for the rest of my life. Nobody will touch me if that's what's going to happen. So to an extent, they had an effect on people's psyche where it said, no, then we definitely must be careful. Have we relaxed? Or because people are not dying in villages and rather in the huge numbers that they were before, we tend to think that, okay, it's not as bad. It plays on our mind, doesn't it?
Technically, it's not as bad.
People are taking PrEP and
technically,
together.
Listen, the reason why we had those pictures is because there were no ARVs.
Okay.
So those pictures were bound to happen. Just the way when we had COVID, there was no treatment and people were dying in huge numbers. So more or less that was kind of meant to happen.
So it's not as bad.
It's not as bad.
Okay.
The issue now that comes in is social behavior change is something that you need to keep reminding people, because people will forget. You know, even during COVID, we were washing hands, and then we got tired of washing hands. So unfortunately, people need to keep being reminded that HIV is still here, that you can't tell by a person's physical appearance that they have HIV, that your personal health is your personal responsibility and you must prevent it, because there are so many. There's a cocktail of HIV prevention methods available, but you have to keep on insisting with the people, because if we keep quiet and then we remember this on World AIDS Day and then we talk about it and then everybody now moves on. For a country that already we have a huge teenage pregnancy problem.
Yes.
And the National Syndemic Disease Control Council has like this End Triple Threat campaign, which ideally deals with ending sexual gender-based violence, teen pregnancies, and HIV. You see, it's not just one issue that is causing HIV. There are two issues before them. So it's not just about the behavior. It's also about, when you go back to the background, what is driving these new infections? For the young people, is it an SGBV issue, or is it just we have too much information?
What is it?
Sexual gender-based violence.
No. I'm saying what's the cause? Why do we have a spike now in young people? Remember before that it was people of a different age demographic, parents with young children, all of that, because then we had grandparents raising small children.
Yeah.
But now, again, that number is 18 to 30.
Yes.
that's where we see the spike of infections. What's causing that? Even
Sometimes,
lower.
Sometimes even 14.
Especially now that we have it's so scary that the base rate for sexual activity is 10 years old.
Yeah.
10 years old. So what's causing this thing now? Because we will say that this is the most informed generation. So why then?
Socioeconomic is one of the things. A lot of young children, and I'm saying children, are selling sex. When they're selling sex, they're in a situation where they cannot negotiate for PrEP, for PEP, for condom use, because somebody is offering them money.
I'm sorry, just wait. Children, again. So just explain this a little bit for us to understand. When we talk about selling and purchasing of sex, we're talking about then in a lower economic setting, and you do it because you need food to survive. Is that still an issue?
A very huge issue.
Okay.
I remember in World AIDS Day 2023, we were in Meru County. There was a 16-year-old with 3 children. And then we now looked at that book, that ANC book. Most of them are kids. They're not grown. It's that age. You see this age of new HIV infections, 14 to 24, that age group. They have kids, they have HIV while still having those kids. So now we went back to, is it a socioeconomic issue or is it a morality issue? More or less mixture of both. From the socioeconomic, and then now there is this urban area influence, and it's more or less of a square ring playing field, including teens. And now, these ones, even if you want to push prevention to them, they're children. So it becomes a little bit of a different conversation, because you cannot walk into a high school and start telling the teachers, we want to talk to the children about sex. As a society, we do not want to have that conversation. But
why? Why don't we want to talk to children about sex, Baridi? Why?
Because it's a taboo.
That's what got us in this problem in the first place.
That is how we ended up.
That's how we ended up in this situation in the first place.
It's a taboo. It's a taboo. Parents are not comfortable to talk about sex with their children.
That's how the kids got there in the first place.
Yes, and also they burden them to teachers, which teachers also are not ready, also struggling. And then if you go to, this is where teachers busy wanataka mtoto pass examination aende campus. Easy social life, they don't talk. Pastors go to church, you born again and go to heaven. These stories are sexual and everything, they don't talk. Parents, time. You don't even nowadays, the parents don't even have time to spend with their children. Coming home late, waking up in the morning, organization where we work, someone must be in the office, go home only for 3 days. So it is just it's a taboo in our African culture.
I remember when we were young, Jimmy Gather would come and wewe bado na mpango wa kando, wacha mpango wa kando, and that was an advert that stood out at the time and everyone consumed it. In this country, we've dealt for a very long time on conversations around sexual education in schools. It has been pushed. Parliament keeps pushing back. Moral police. We talk about the church. You talk about other institutions. How are we introducing sex education to children? It is against our norm. It is against our culture. It is a taboo. But like we all agreed, it is how we got here in the first place. Is it about time that we beat the bullet and said, guys, look at our young people. They are the ones who are contracting HIV/AIDS today. That if we do not address it today, we do not have a future. We do not have those who are supposed to push this country to push it. Because let's face it again, everyday consumption of taking pills, is not an easy task. It's not an easy task, man. It's tough. When you're given the malaria pills you're supposed to take for 2 days and they are 6 in number, you're like, oh my God, what the hell is this? Now imagine a daily pill for the rest of your life. We are not having conversations that we ought to be having today. And perhaps conversations that ought to be there because government says there is no funding. Trump also said, I am pulling out what? My funding to you guys. We need to realize that we cannot take care of HIV today like we did before because everyone is cutting down on the funding. Is it about time, Doreen? That we sat down with our parents and said, we need to start having this discussion.
In fact, it's late. Because you see, the era when we did ABC, it was practical. The people getting HIV infections that time was a different cohort of people. Then we move now to, we have ARVs, everybody's looking healthy, people are nice, and we have all of these things, biomedical, what. But now, we have a generation of people who never saw people die of HIV. They don't even understand the seriousness of this whole thing that you people are telling them. And then now you want to tell them they can prevent HIV. But them, we love fun, we love outsiding, we love clubbing, we love all of those things. But we do not want to have the real conversation. The real conversation here being, yes, you did not see people die of AIDS, but HIV is still real. You can still get HIV. And STIs are still there. And one of the things that sometimes frustrates me is in global spaces we speak about the choice basket, where we have different HIV prevention choices in there, but those choices are not with the people. So those choices are the vaginal ring he was talking about. It is just a choice in a name. The product was developed, it just disappeared somewhere in translation. Now we are going into the injectable world. We do not know what is going to be the criteria of access to that. We already have PrEP that when it started, people were taking it a lot. And then all of a sudden, they're like, nah, I am not taking medication like this to prevent myself. I'm not even sick. So you see that we need to actually come up with a way where we are communicating health-seeking behaviors, HIV being like on top of that list, to the young people in a way that they also understand. Because behavior change is not a one-day job.
No,
we cannot just have this conversation and then we say, oh, wow, see, people, new HIV infections have gone down. No, we have to do more podcasts, more YouTube channels, more, wherever young people are, we have to continue insisting. Because the money is going away. And we are not going to be able to sustain the response if more people get HIV.
Okay. Yeah. So, Barid, I want to, even as we talk about this, is sexual transmission still the method with the highest percentage for HIV?
Yes.
It is, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we already know that a lot of the people who have HIV today and are getting infected are getting it through sexual transmission.
Yes.
That is it.
Yes.
Okay. We have also said that the behavior is changing.
Yes.
And we've also said that in this generation, even though we are gobbling up so much information, we don't have the historical pictures. Yeah. So we are not making decisions based on those pictures. So it would seem to me, and this could just be me and my small mind, that you know it's a sexual problem, but we don't want to have a sexual conversation. How are we going to solve the thing? How are we going to do that if we don't have the conversation? Even when we spell sex, we block out the E as though it could be something else, as though it's a musical instrument. Okay, saxophone. Well, I mean, really, we don't want to have the conversation. Even now we're having the conversation and people have left the chat because it's uncomfortable. We don't want to discuss it, but it's killing people. Okay, maybe not killing people and not dropping off the face of the earth like flies, but it's affecting life. It is altering life permanently because there is no cure. You can't get well from this thing. So why don't we have a sexual conversation for a problem which is clearly a sexual one? Mother-to-child transmission has been severely decreased over time. So it's not mothers breastfeeding their children that's causing the numbers of HIV. It isn't. It's not people cutting themselves with a razor blade and then infecting somebody else. It's not used syringes that are being reused. Even in your basic level 1-2 hospitals, people are not reusing syringes. So it's a sexual problem. But we don't want to talk about it. We want to talk about trucks and pillars of smoke. Why?
First, also, I think people need to understand that we have a very big number of people who are tested positive and refuse to go to start treatment. And they're outside there.
They are people say, and they're continuing to have sex. Just so it's they have been tested even 2 times and they have confirmed they're positive, but they have refused to go and start medication.
They're murderers.
And they're still outside there. And most of them sometimes don't use protection. And let me tell you about sex with the young people. Protection is option for them. It is when maybe a lady demands that now we have to use a protection. And then that is why we need to start having a conversation. And this conversation needs to start, like Doreen was saying, all the media houses. The government need to take up the role of looking how can we be able to prevent our 50 million plus of people not to get infected. People don't know that it's not about, I think there is no threat. You know why some of us lived, and Okina Doreen and the people, is that there was a threat. You know, hey, ukipata ukedi utakuwa umekonda kama yule. So unasema, ile poster nimeona zilikuwa na billboard mbaya, mtu ameulewa, mtu amekufa. Ulikuwa unaona mtu anatangaza ukimwi, alikuwa amechoka, ribs zimetoka nje, billboard ni kubwa. Imagine you have been tested.
It had an effect.
Yes. You have been just tested positive, then get hapo Kisumu unaangalia juu unaona mwenye amekonda mbaya yeye ameenda. You say what? Sasa what is the option? You see? So yes, alafu doka anakuja na kupea dawa zenye unameza kama cocktail, asubuhi, jioni, usiku, au amke, every time and then. But then food the problem, home and everything. So that one is also ilichangamsha wasewa, okay, I don't want to be like that person there. But nowadays, even young people asking for ARVs, they say make people look beautiful. Yeah. And they're not positive.
Sorry?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, God.
It gives you comes in the right places.
Yes.
That's what it says.
in a letter hips and the rest. Yeah.
People are joking.
So, this is a person you want to tell, no, boss, HIV mejua ni noma sana. Na wenye wanameza wako sawa, wanaona Dorina ameng'ara kwa TV, ona vile yuko. Ili nyeri ARVs muosha, hata mimi nataka nioshwe, you see? So the information that is outside there is really wrong. And we need to come out and start discussing it. From church, tell people, taking ARVs is not an easy thing. Because you have to take it every day until God take you away. So you are compromised. There's some jobs also that you cannot do. So for example, hizi mjengo, kukohoa, a lot of things inakuja that will fight your immune and the rest. Sometimes it's difficult for somebody because your immune is compromised and you have to survive the medication. So people need to know that I have to take this thing up to. And also even you are HIV positive, even dating relationship is a difficult. And now there's a problem why even you have somebody dating somebody and even getting married without even knowing the HIV status. And this is a scenario in Homa Bay where a woman anaweka dawa zake ya ARVs kwa unga ya ugali.
Okay.
ARVs unaweka kwa unga ya ugali.
People want to finish me today.
Yes.
I don't understand.
So you put unga ya ugali because umejua your husband, the most thing that men look, ataenda kwa ile container ya ugali kuangalia nini iko kwa unga. By the time you want to cook, you take it.
You take it.
Yes, and you return it there.
Okay.
And also,
the woman doesn't want the man to
Yes,
know
to
that
know
she's taking
she's taking ARVs, yeah.
and also you take
Okay.
condoms to Homa Bay. And then you say, this is a place where HIV is big. Huh? Then you know what they're doing to a condom? They have these mulikamwizi phones. Then they take two condoms. Wanaweka mulikamwizi ndani ya condom inafungwa. So wakienda kwa lake kutafuta samaki, wanaifunga huko juu. They say so when the waves comes and the rain comes, it cannot so protect ya simu.
It protects the...
Yes, so maji yezi ingia because Juala is weak. And Uruba cannot do that. So you are taking, you are budgeting for protection, could be a budgeting for
Fishermen.
fishermen for protecting their phones.
Guys,
So you're like, why are we taking condom? People are not using, but you find them zimetupu after.
all over the place.
All over the place.
And you see, this is a time when we will talk about taking PrEP and everything, but no one is really talking about the cost, because also managing HIV is not buying Panadol. It is not like even buying a bottle of water. It is expensive.
Yeah.
And I look at it from a point where if we all were concerned, if the government were concerned in terms of we do not have funding ourselves, aid has gone down, right? And that because of failure of that, our people do not have disposable income to deal with HIV as it would be, then perhaps more power would have been given towards enlightenment, conversations in handling HIV. Have we failed ourselves, Doreen?
Technically we have, because the thing is the signs have always been there. You see, when the HIV response in the earlier days, there was money. There was a lot of money. Like people, you will even go to a facility, hauna fare, and then you're given fare to go back home.
Yeah.
They will even give you twice, the to and fro. If you are hungry, they will
buy you
give
lunch.
you shopping baskets. There was a lot of psychosocial support programs. Like there was a lot of things going on. And then those things were cut off. That was our first sign that this money is not going to always be here. So we need to arrange our house. We didn't. We just let the donor continue doing what the donor continued doing. The donor comes with the new programs. We take the programs. They run out of money. We say, okay.
And the donor.
And then the donor. So now we ended up to a point where we left. I remember in I think it was 2021 thereabout, when the donors said they can no longer buy a Septrin. And they told the government, buy the people living with HIV Septrin. Then the government took a short...